Hello, fellow teachers. I wanted to take this opportunity to go a little more in depth on Pedagogy 1, Assignment 2, that involves your lesson planning. I hope you already had a chance to review the overall video related to assignments in general, and I hope you had a chance to review the samples of unit learning targets and unit performance goals that I placed in Module 5 in Canvas, because those are important to understanding the following video. The first thing you need to know about this assignment is it's done in teams, in small groups. So preferably, I would like you to be in a group of 3 for this assignment. It will make for a much richer dialogue and experience. So that would mean the literacy people would do their best to team up in groups of 3. Math, social studies. I already had a discussion online with many of the special needs students. So that's the first thing you need to know. And you can be discussing and thinking about those groups immediately after viewing this video. The next thing we need to understand in reference to backwards design is that we can't begin thinking of lesson planning until we have a clear idea of the overall unit. Now, even though this assignment is focused on the lesson plan, every assignment has to have this unit design in mind. So that's why I shared with you those unit learning targets and unit performance goals in Module 5 to give you examples of what is meant by a unit design that offers the learning and the performance. And in the way they're set up, they're talking to you about what is the actual behavior that the students are going to exhibit at the end of the unit that's going to demonstrate their learning. The next thing is, what are the conditions under which they're going to work in that demonstration of learning? And finally, what's the degree of success? Which, for all students, that degree of success should be the highest performance possible. So you'll notice in each of them, it talks about everyone receives a 4 out of 4 on the rubric accompanying, or it says, in the case of one example, everyone will receive 100% on the final assessment. At this point, I'm not going to review in depth all of the assessment ideas we have discussed in class, but please understand the goal of teaching is student learning, and we are going to do everything in our power formatively to make sure the students are able to succeed on the summative assessment. So this is where we're starting in the unit. What is that summative assessment? I gave you other examples a couple of sessions ago in which you saw a much more in-depth idea of the unit, talking about the context, talking about the standards that were guiding the unit, essential questions, unit framing questions, etc. You're going to do all that in Ped 2. But for this assignment, I want you to focus on that opening involving the unit learning target and unit performance goal. That has to be the first paragraphs of this assignment. Okay, so let's move on to the next elements of this assignment. God, I look so serious in this video. The work is serious, but we can enjoy ourselves. So the next thing I want you to notice is that on the home page of our Canvas shell, you see a list of documents that are guiding you throughout the semester. I want you to zero in on the lesson planning elements checklist and assignment 2 for pedagogy, because those are the next things we're going to talk about. So at this time, assignment 2 for pedagogy, which all of you have had a chance to review, and I asked you to send me an email about any revisions you'd like to make to the rubric. Hopefully you have done that by now. If not, get those to me ASAP, because this is our guide. This is our sample of the rubric for assignment 2. I'm not going to insult your intelligence and read through each one of those, but I am going to pay special attention to how your assignment is going to look. And your assignment is going to perfectly follow the elements checklist that is on your homepage. Okay? So the way we want you to format this assignment is by addressing each of these elements that are on this checklist. Going through one by one, and putting the element down, and underneath it or across from it, however you design it, telling exactly how your lesson plan is going to meet these elements. Now, in order to do that, let's talk about how this will look. You should, I think the easiest thing to do, possibly, is think about a unit at one of your schools. And probably what you're going to have to do is revise that unit to be transformative, to talk about how that unit, your team would revise it to be absolutely related to students' lives, community, or culture. Okay? So that's that learning target that is bringing in, as a matter of fact, is bringing in what you learned in Teaching Transformed last semester. And of course, we're using it again. The learning has to be transformative in the unit and in the lesson. And as I stated earlier, those unit guidelines will be the first element in the assignment you're turning in. Next, your team should think about as if anything exists like this, a normal lesson plan. In other words, a lesson plan that follows the framework at your middle school, at your high school, in some cases at your elementary school. You can use any of those formats, but you're not handing in this assignment in those formats. You may use those formats to guide your thinking, but the way you're doing this assignment is after that opening, you're going through this checklist. Number one, number two, and how this would be addressed in your lesson plan. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, well, I'm setting up a series of chats online that I can clarify any of this. But before you come into those chat rooms, make sure you have reviewed this video and reviewed the assignment. So, as you go down that list, you'll see that even the lesson plan you're working on, how is that going to be directly related to your students' lives, to their school, to their community? I'm not pretending that this is easy to do. In some cases, it may fit nicely. In others, you may have to do some deep discussion and thinking about that. That's why you're on a team. This work, I don't believe, can be done well alone. Also, when you get into the schools, even though you're never going to do this kind of in-depth planning again, hopefully you are going to collaborate on all your lessons. Get feedback, get other people's thoughts, ask them how they might do it and what they're thinking about. So this is critical for this assignment.